Welcome to Beyond the Cookbook. I'm Natasha and welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to make oven fried chicken. This is a recipe that I've been developing over the years, and as you know, I have a bunch of kids. I have to cook a lot of things over the years. This recipe only takes a few steps to accomplish, and it's actually very, very tasty, and it comes out nice and crispy as you'll see. So if you're ready, why don't you come along with me and we'll do it together. Okay, so for this recipe, you're going to need a cut up chicken. I have here a whole chicken, which I'm going to cut up, and then we're going to put in the buttermilk and all of the spices, and we'll show that once the chicken is all ready. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so most chickens will have a string. Oh, that one is easy to cut. Just take that out. I always start with the spine. So find your spine, and if you have a good pair of kitchen shears, you can just cut along the spine. Oops. Sometimes you have to get a knife, but be very careful because the bones get sharp. So then you take that side off. You don't need this part of it. You don't throw it away though, because it makes really good stock. Sometimes you need a knife. There we go. Okay, so now your bird is flat. I always cut my chicken in 6 parts, so actually more than 6, I think it's 8 parts. So the drums will be 1 part, the thighs will be another part. I will cut the breasts in half and then in 2 parts each, and leave the wings on the top part. So I always put pressure on the breastbone to crack it, and then I cut it. There we go. Set that aside and cut around here to disconnect. And then you find the joint in here. Sometimes it's easier to go this way. And there it is. So there's 1 piece. There's a second piece. And then we'll deal with the breast. I always leave the wing on the top part of it. So again, it's just a matter of finding where it's going to cut the best. So this is probably good right here. Put pressure on your knife if you have to. And you have to have a very, very sharp knife for this. So that's 4 pieces. And then we'll repeat with the side. Again, find the joint. And then just split the breast again. So as you can see, I have 3 chickens here, 3 whole chickens that I cut into 8 pieces each. I keep thinking it's 6, but it's 8. So now I'm going to put it into this large bowl with buttermilk and some spices. So, and the spices are, I have here cumin, turmeric, cayenne pepper, garlic, paprika, aniseed, oregano, and thyme, and of course salt and pepper. So you might need to adjust these measurements according to how many chickens you're making, and I'll have the ingredients and the measurements all up for you, but we're going to mix it all in here. And of course I also have buttermilk, and you might need more or less depending on how many chickens you're going to use. This is just a liter of buttermilk. I think I might need more. So I just put the spices at the bottom, and I'm just going to put the chicken inside, and then I'll mix it up a little bit, and then add the buttermilk. And this is all going to sit in the fridge overnight. And tomorrow, when I put the flour together and the mixture to dredge the chicken in, I'll use the exact same spices. So now I'm just going to mix them together. The turmeric will give it a nice orangey color. Also stain your hands, but oh well. This already smells so nice. Okay, so I'm just adding some salt. Like I've said before, salt in this house is only to taste. And we'll add some pepper. Okay. Then I'm going to add the buttermilk. Try and get milk in all those crevices. And then mix. You want to submerge everything in buttermilk as best you can. I think I'm going to stick my hands in it because there's no better tools than your hands. Make sure everything is submerged nicely. And look at the color of the milk. Look how everything's changed into a nice little orangey color. So then I'm going to cover this. I'll cover it up with plastic wrap, and I will put it in the fridge overnight, and then tomorrow we'll continue the process. So it's just the same ingredients as far as spices, mixed in with the flour, and then the chicken is dredged in the flour, and then then I fry it over a high flame on the stove with some oil, and then I put it in the oven for a few minutes just to make sure that it's all cooked correctly. And tomorrow we'll get back to it. So today we're going to continue with frying our chicken. This is the result of marinating the chicken in buttermilk overnight. The color has changed drastically, and you can still see all the spices, all the herbs in there. It's going to be nice. So the second part of it is dredging it in flour. So I have here a few cups. You're going to need, it all depends on how much chicken you're going to do. We're doing 3 chickens. So you're going to need, I would start with 4 cups of all-purpose flour. And to that, we're going to add our spices as well. Thyme, oregano, aniseed, smoked paprika, turmeric, cayenne pepper, and cumin. So I'm just going to mix them all up in here, and we're going to start frying. Whoops, makes quite a mess. So for the next part of it, you need a cast iron skillet or any kind of deep pot that you feel comfortable frying in. And we're only going to fry this for color and crunch, and then I'm going to bake the rest of it in the oven to make sure that it's cooked through. But I have just a few inches of hot oil here, and I'm just using canola oil. You don't want anything with flavor. Unless you want the flavor, you could use peanut oil, you can use sunflower oil, but I just use canola oil. So I've got my chicken here, and we have our flour and then our oil. So a lot of people would drain this buttermilk, but I use this to my advantage. I don't dread it in milk and egg. I just leave it right in the buttermilk. I take it out of the buttermilk into the flour and then into the frying pan. So I'm just giving it one last mix. And I'm going to start dredging it and setting it aside while I wait for the oil to come to temperature. Oops. This is a messy process, but that's okay. It's part of the fun. Oops. So I'm going to put my first one in, and I put it in away from me. And try not to overcrowd the pan, because the more pieces you put in, it'll reduce the temperature of the oil, and you want it all to be the same consistency. You want it all to cook at the same time. And while we wait for these to brown and crisp, I'm going to continue dredging. Check on these guys. Look at that color. That's that one is stuck. So if it's stuck at the bottom of the pan, we're going to leave it until it's ready. There we go. We'll give it a few more minutes, and then we'll move it over to a pan with the grill that I've sprayed with pan, just so that the skin doesn't stick to it. And that's going to help drain, and it'll help circulate the air inside the oven so that it gets crispy all through, all around it. Just turning it over again, just to make sure that all sides are nice and brown. So you cook it in the frying pan for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. Like I said, you don't need to cook it all the way through, because you are going to put it in the oven, and that'll continue with the cooking process. So this batch is ready to go into the oven. Let me just pull this out. And it smells so good. So this will stay in the oven for about 20 minutes or so. I'm going to check these larger pieces to make sure that they're cooked through. But in about 20 minutes, we'll have nice fried chicken. So, since we're waiting for the first batch to come out of the oven, I thought this would be a nice time for you to like and subscribe, and to leave a comment. Share with your friends, and tell everybody about our videos. Like and subscribe. So perfect 165. And we'll just plate them up. Look at how nice they look. They're so nice and brown. They're crispy, and they smell so good. So here's our fried chicken. We have another batch in the oven, but just I just wanted to show you how good it looks, and it smells so good. And they're nice and brown. They're not dark. You can see some of the spices still in it. And they're nice and crispy. Let's have a taste. As you can see, nicely cooked. Whoop, all the way. Mmm. They're good. They're hot. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I hope you try this recipe out. And if you do, please let me know and leave a comment. In the meantime, please like and subscribe, tell all your friends, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.